Banlist time! And once again we get a rather underwhelming list considering what the game holds in the future. First and foremost, we should establish that because of the whole rule change pendulum stuff and the fact that US nationals are occurring, the list does not take place until July 14th, as sounds about right, and it goes until the end of September. So, a bit of a shorter format, but basically what it was supposed to be if not for the whole delay thing by 2 weeks. So, we've lost 2 weeks off of this format, but it's perfectly fine. Now, the first thing you'll notice, we're going to go through the list of forbidden cards right here. Take close note of the remarks section right here where I've got my mouse. Nothing got banned this format. So that's this entire chunk that we can just throw out and not have to worry a single iota about. Unless you notice the lack of a very certain synchro monster up here on this list. Which is the first card that we're actually going to be talking about when we get down to the limited cards. Let's get down here. Okay, so we have Was Forbidden and New. What was forbidden? Well, Goyo Guardian. This old Todger. He's back and ready to roll. The question is, how much of an impact is he going to make? Probably not that much, to be perfectly honest. I mean, this thing's being overhyped to shit. Like, the ultis, I've seen the ultis on eBay going up for as many as $60, which is bordering on ridiculous. Like, I have a first ed Ultra one that I got not long after it got banned because I thought it was going to come back eventually. And obviously, yay, it did. And even that's, like, been going for $30, which I think is a bit ridiculous. So, I mean, who knows? I could probably sell it for $30 and then come back a couple of weeks later and get it for like 20, which would be nice little bit of profit there. But I don't really care too much about that. So, I'm just going to hang on to my Goyo Guardian and discuss what kind of decks could run this. Evidently, Six Samurais have some pretty decent use out of this, although, mind you, it's not going to help them really at all to actually be good, because they kind of just got kicked in the pants then, back when Gateway got banned. Blackwings might actually get a little bit more useful, because I haven't really found any decent level 6 synchros that work with the deck. I mean, aside from maybe Orient Dragon, which its usefulness is dependent purely on the meta. HTS Sihemeth wasn't actually a bad idea either, but, you know, it would be nice to have something just a little bit better, and Goyo Guardian's a bit of a thing. I can imagine decks such as possibly Light Swans can also use it as well. They can make Luminar and go into Minerva and go into this, which would be really deadly in that sort of deck. To steal some shit that they can use for their own Xyz and or synchro plays. So that's a thing that could possibly happen. I can also definitely see Mermails getting some use out of this, provided they use Diva again. With my Mermail build that I'm working on, because I've actually got it complete. I've got a few other bits and pieces. I think I established this some other day. I think Mermails can use this, provided they use Diva again, like I'm using Diva in my build. So that might. So I think whether or not this was a good idea will be determined in the coming weeks and over the course of the next month, as people start to get more use out of the Goyo Guardian that's been disappeared for a while. But like I said, I don't think it's going to have anywhere near as much of an impact now as it did before it got banned, because there are a whole bunch of other shit that can be employed for the purpose of stopping it. Which we will discuss later on in the video. So as for the other card that got limited, Giga Gear. I personally think they should have done more. Giga Gear is not too bad, but they still have the one, so I don't think they're going to be hurt that much. I don't think they're going to be like incredibly broken, herp-a-derp-a-derp, but the point still matters. The point still remains that one Giga Gear is really all that they're going to need. I mean, the second Giga Gear was only really useful for the swarming and potential OTK plays, but I think even with one Giga Gear, the Giga Gear archetype is still going to be a pretty damn decent one in the coming format, at least until Shadows come out. Because once Shadows come out, everything goes out the window and goes to shit. But, yeah, I don't think they were really hit enough by this. They're still going to be good, because they still have a whole bunch they still run like pretty much bare essential spells and all of the bare essential monsters. They still have a shit ton of traps, and I think most decks only really play 2 copies of Giga Gear anyway. So, and even if they and you know, if they played 3, then either they were insane or something else. But the point still remains, they've just now got more room to throw in other trap cards, especially since a couple of the trap cards that they usually use have been put up to 3, which once again we will discuss later on in the video. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say on the Giga Gear. It's just, yeah, it's not really that much of a hit on Giga Gears. I don't think anybody even talks about them. So, 3 cards have been placed in the semi-limited list, first of which is the Magician of Faith. The only bonus I'm getting out of this is being able to throw a second one in my Exodia deck. That is it. I don't think anybody even cares about Magician of Faith. I mean, I know somebody said that it was going to be like, oh my god, Magician of Faith's back, spellbooks now have their own, like, tour guide engine. That never really happened, did it? I mean, I still maintain that it's a decent little engine to have with the triple Apprentice Magician and then having 2 of these now, it might actually be rather interesting to get spells back from the graveyard. I mean, you now have as many as 3 Darkhold uses in the one game, which, when you could think about it that way, is kind of insane, but it's just the whole, nobody really used it. It was enticing, but nobody really used it because it just wasn't overly game breaking or anything like that. Not to mention, of course, you flip it and it gets veiled, you've got a 300 body that's going to get smacked in the chop, so that's going to really, really suck. So, in all honesty, I mean, they could put it to 3 for all they care. It does not matter to me. I don't think it matters to just about anybody else, except for those people who just want to be like, oh my god, I can get back an upstart and use it many, many times over. It's just like, okay. I mean, I suppose Chainburn also gets a bonus out of this, which kind of sucks. But, it's just a thing. They're probably going to put it to 3 at the next list anyway. So, honestly, who really gives a crap? So, the next card, Formula Synchron, has been put to 2. Yeah, I think between this and Goyo, they're really promoting the shit out of Legendary Collection 5Ds. I mean, it's clear that both of the cards are going to be in the set, especially Goyo Guardian since it's been brought back, and Darkstrike Fighter's on its way back because once the because it's assumed that it's going to get the errated version in the Legendary Collection, so it'll come back and not have to be that big of a concern anymore. As for Formula Synchron as an actual card, it opens up more Quasar plays, and considering Quasar's getting reprint in 5Ds as well, I think this is going to be a bit of a crazy move. Although, maybe by the time that happens, they could well put Lone Fire back to 1, Soul Charge get put to 1 as well, or something stupid like that. It actually kind of surprises me that they didn't hit Soul Charge at all, because it was way too herp-a-derp-a-derp. But, oh well, I guess that's something for the next list to patch up, provided they actually know how to hit a whole bunch of random shit instead of just hitting 1, 2, 3 cards at a friggin' time. I mean, they made 7 changes to this list, which is nowhere near enough. I'd have thought that they'd have done more with the whole Pendulum and Shadow thing on its way. I thought they would have just changed the face of the meta to make it a little bit more interesting before dumping Shadows on us like AVGN throws a dump of shit on the Atari Jaguar CD. So, that's kind of a thing. Reinforcement of the Army to 2. Holy crap. I think the OCG got this. Did the OCG get this? No, apparently they did not. I thought that they did. Or maybe like... Okay, I've got no idea. I thought OCG got rotated to 2, evidently they did not. Okay, basically, this is just saying, here Noble Knights have a bonus search. Here Heroes have a bonus search. Like, even Evil Swarms and Constellars get a bonus search card out of this. Because they can search for their caster, their Pollux. And not to mention, of course, you know, basically everything that runs Warriors gets a really, really awesome bonus out of this. The question is, is it really warranted? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure about this one. But I know I'm going to probably abuse the crap out of this as much as I possibly can, because that's just me being a dipshit. I don't know. But hey, extra bonus for heroes, I'm not going to complain. Extra bonus for Constellas, I'm not going to complain. Evil Swarms, well, I still have the deck skeleton, and until it's and if I can get my hands on an Excite or not, then I could just be like, okay, sweet, I'll run Evil Swarms. Would be nice, but yeah, who knows. As for the grand scheme of things, who knows? I mean, Noble Knights, Constellas, Heroes, blah blah blah, they all get this nice little bonus. I think time will tell whether or not this was a good idea. They might put it back to 1, who knows. So, that's it for the limited, semi-limited. Now for the 2 unlimited cards, which I'm probably just going to discuss at the same time, since they're virtually the same thing. D-Prison and Mirror Force. Yeah, these Todgers. I don't even know why they put this thing to 2 last September. It was really a dumb move. So, I think getting rid of that, I think putting this back up to 3, they should not even, they really shouldn't have put it to 2 at all. I mean, if they were going to put everything else to 1 back then, they would have just been like, okay, then D-Prison to 1. They put so much shit to 1 back then, and then D-Prison to 2, and so it's just like, really. I mean, I get why they're going to put it to 3 now, because Goyo Guardian's a thing, and they're just going to give a whole bunch of players as many opportunities as they can to get rid of the Goyo Guardian. Same thing with the Mirror Force, although I don't believe anybody will ever even use 3 Mirror Forces unless they run like 25 traps in their deck and actually have the room to fit it in. I mean, aside from having like the triple breakthrough skill, the triple D-Prison, and all that random crap. So, I like D-Prison is a lot more likely to see play at 3. Definitely more likely than Mirror Force. I mean, Mirror Force at 3 is a bit too superfluous. It's rather insane. I mean, 1 Mirror Force on its own can win a game. Being able to have 3 in the deck is bordering on ridiculous. So I think, like with both of them at 3, it's going to be interesting to see how many attacks actually go through and how many copies each player has, knowing that they can max out knowing that they have the freedom to max out here. So, that once again is a thing that the future will decide on, whether or not this was a good idea or not. So, I think that's pretty much the theme of this entire ban list. Just change up a couple of things, and then let time tell whether or not it was a good idea. If it was, then we stick with it. If not, then I guess it just goes down the drain, and we'll just probably ban them again or something like that. Or just be a dipshit and put them like up one notch or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, in my honest opinion, they didn't do anywhere near as much as they should have on this ban list. They really should have given stuff like Mermails a bit of a hit, especially after they won Euros. I'd have thought they'd be like, okay, they've had their time to give them a nice little smack of the chops to kill them. Boojins, once again, were completely untouched. Gear Gears, they did not get touched anywhere near as much as they should have. I mean, I still thought something like Armor could have been put to 1. I think all the Gear limiting is even going to do is the whole, maybe not do so much with the pure Gear thing, but the Karakuri build could still wreck a whole lot of face in the future, because they don't really care too much about Gear if my memory serves me correctly. So yeah, that's it. That's my thought dump. Don't really care whether people like it or not. I mean, you can always drop your own comments and be like, yay, this is good, this is terrible, or something like that, but mediocre list. Let's just deal with it for the next couple of months, and hopefully October will go insane and do a whole bunch more shit. Maybe they're just going to see what kind of impact pendulums have before they do a whole bunch of mass changes. If they do it like that, then I guess it makes sense. So, that's it. Yeah, just gonna be all like, yeah.